All right, guys. So today is the 15th of October, 2020. We're going to be talking about capitalism, socialism, communism. And these are three very, very big ideas, not just in world history or American history, but in politics and economics. So this is really important information. I need you to, when we're all said and done, if you don't, if you're not clear on something, if you're unsure of something, you have a question on something, you need to ask me so we can move on with it. But move on with it having a really firm grasp on it. Not just because it's going to appear on a test, which it will, not because it's going to come up later on in the year, which it will, just because this is part of those or one of those things that helps make you a better citizen, a better global citizen, more informed. Socialism nowadays in the United States is a word that comes up in politics inaccurately many times, just so you know. It's an important thing to really understand. So at the end of this, at the end of this head puzzle, there's going to be three questions asking you to identify socialism, communism, and capitalism. Make sure that you are solid on those things as you move along. If you need to scribble a note or two, please do so. But it's important that you feel pretty confident about it. All right. So let's go to move on. We can skip our do now. This is just something that you can really think about, more of a if we were in class. Have you ever heard of these terms before? You probably have in some way. If you have, could you maybe explain what each one is? Could you tell me the difference? Could you tell me the similarities between the three theories, the three systems? And do you know if the United States has one of these, all three of these? What does or how do these three terms pertain to not the politics, the winning votes part of the United States, but how does it actually, to the governance, to the way our government or economy is formed? All right, so we have two key terms. The first key term is a French term right here, and that's going to be laissez-faire, not laissez-faire or whatever. It's laissez-faire, and it comes from this man right here. That man is Adam Smith. He was an English theorist, thinker, economist. Back in the day, kind of everyone seemed to have 75 titles. And laissez-faire is a French word that means, in theory, a lack of government interference in the economy. The belief that the government should basically, the best way to put it is hands off. The government keeps their hands off of the economy. All right. The second term we have up there, is the means of production. The means of production are the materials, tools, machines, resources, infrastructure. Infrastructure being roads, seaports, airports, trains, way we move things, bridges, or all tunnels are all infrastructure. Infrastructure and how are they used in the production process of making something, anything. One of my favorite examples to use with you guys is a piece of paper, right? So not only does someone have to grow the tree, does someone have to cut the tree, they have to log the tree, they have to drag the tree somewhere, they have to mill the tree, they have to pulp the tree, they have to bleach it, they have to roll it out, they have to cut it, they have to put it on a truck and ship it, or maybe put it on a plane or ship. There is a lot more that goes into the production of something than you all stop and think about. All right. So that is the means of production, is kind of like that whole process of it. All right, and the first key term we're going to talk about is capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system based on the means of production being privately owned, which means they're either owned by individuals or by corporations, companies. This is based off Adam Smith's idea of laissez-faire. The pros of capitalism is that, in theory, hard work is paid off through financial gain. In con is that really only those that already have money or from the get-go can make more money. All right. Now, I put capitalist countries today, and we really need to put asterisks next to all of them. The United States, Japan, and South Korea are capitalist countries, but there's no pure form of capitalism. Here's an example. Right now, with everything that's going on with the economic downturn associated with the pandemic, the airlines, right? Airlines are struggling mightily for business. Well, the federal government has given them significant amounts of money to stay afloat, to pay bills, to pay salaries, to pay, to keep running essentially. In pure capitalism, that would not happen. A business would fail based on its merits, based on whatever conditions affect it or don't affect it. All right. Look back into 2008 and 2009 when the Great Recession struck, and the automotive industry was significantly hampered. The banking industries were significantly hampered, on the verge of collapse. The federal government pumped them full of money to keep them going. Right. That is a form of socialism. All right. The other idea is that kind of seems to be a misconception is that hard work is rewarded. Now you can think that you may look at maybe your parents, you may look at other people and think like they work really hard, right? Unfortunately, none of us are Bill Gates, and that's kind of unfortunate. So it may hard work definitely benefits everybody. It definitely helps you get ahead, but does it guarantee financial success? I would say that's going to be a hard sell to make. All right. The next is socialism. It's an economic system where the means of production is owned by the people together, usually through the government, and it's not all of it usually. So a pro is that everyone is given a chance to succeed, usually with the government kind of leveling the playing field. How do they do that? In socialist countries, like I noted below, Denmark, Finland, Norway, Sweden, some other ones, a lot of the European nations, things like college are free or greatly reduced. Healthcare is free universally. Childcare is usually taken care of. Paid holidays are mandated by law, which the United States does not have. Paternity or maternity leave, when a parent gives birth, that the parents are paid to be home. That's kind of a way to level the playing field. In most socialist countries, not every business is owned by the government. Just usually larger ones tend to be larger fat parts of the economy. So maybe it might be oil or gas companies or airlines. There are national airlines in parts of the world, train corporations, where the government controls these things because they can regulate the prices and keep them low. Right now, what are the cons of socialism? It can promote laziness, right? If I know that the government's going to take care of a lot of my basic needs, I may not be as motivated to go and do those things for myself, right? So we have to be aware of that. All right, the last one is going to be communism. Communism is kind of a boogeyman word, a scary word throughout American history. It is the same as socialism, except there is no private ownership of any kind, whether it be property or businesses. The goal is to reach a classless society, right? Remember, we've done those social hierarchies. We've done them, where we've seen a pharaoh top, and then like priests and nobles, if we're talking about ancient Egypt, and artisans, merchants, scribes, peasant farmers, slaves. In theory, it strives to get rid of them. Now, it's a theory, right? Communism has failed repeatedly, at least in its purest forms. All right. So it is developed by two German men, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, in the mid 1800s. And they write a book called The Communist Manifesto, basically the outlining of what it means to be a communist and what their predictions for the economies of the world would be. The pro is very similar to socialism, where everyone is given a chance to succeed. Everyone is equal. The con is that it may promote laziness again. And in reality, human nature takes over and someone always wants a little bit more than their neighbor. All right, communist countries today, North Korea, China, and Cuba. Now, once again, just like the capitalism, we need to put asterisks next to all of that. There is no pure forms of communism. Capitalist ideas, socialist ideas have crept into these countries without a doubt. China, very notably, China is the second largest economy on the planet. They have monster corporations, many of whom you've probably heard of or dealt with in some way. A lot of them who you may never have heard of, however, they make your products. All right. And one really great example is Huawei. They are kind of the innovators of 5G technology and cell phones. They are huge around the world. They are the largest cell phone producer in the world. You probably have never really dealt with their products because you don't live in much of the Africa or Asia or Europe, but their products are huge, gigantic, all right, around the world. That would not happen on a communist country. It just simply wouldn't, right? So kind of this cute little cartoons that came out that explain what everything is. In capitalism, you have two cows. You sell a cow for a bull, bull being a male cow, a male cattle, and the idea that your cow and your bull will have more babies, and you can make more babies and sell more babies, right? Make more money, right? Socialism. You have two cows. The government comes and takes them and then puts them in a barn with everyone else's cows, and then gives you as much milk as it thinks you need. Right. The government is interfering with your business. It is doing what they think is best for everybody involved. And lastly, in communism, you have two cows. Your neighbor helps you take care of them, and everyone shares the milk. Now, ultimately, though, this is kind of where human nature creeps in. Somebody's going to want a little bit more milk. All right. You're going to read a biography now of China's first major communist leader, Mao Zedong. We've heard him mentioned before in the communist nationalism notes. He was mentioned on the quiz. Now we're going to learn about his personal life. It's quite an interesting story. You're going to kind of get a preview of Chinese history past where we are now, past the 1940s, as they talk about Mao and his leadership of China. All right, you're going to have a quick couple questions, being able to identify communism, socialism, and capitalism. And I hope that helps. I mean, like I said, guys, if you need help, if you're struggling with something, you got to speak up and let me know. All right, guys, have a great day. Thanks.